She became one of the most talked about figures on Black TikTok, and not always for the right reasons. Kaylee sent her daughter Autumn to CPS custody while broadcasting live.
I called CPS before I went to jail. I voluntarily gave up. I'm done with it. Done.
Her boyfriend slept in her daughter's bed, and instead of leaving him, she tried to talk her way out of it on camera.
What did he do? He slept where?
He slept on top of the cover.
He slept on top of the cover, but when I went to sleep, John was in who bed? Mine's, right?
Yeah.
Kaylee would let you question a lot of things about motherhood. For instance, why would a mother admit, with a smile on her face, that she had lied about her children's school grades just to get engagement? That she had lied about her children's school grades just to get engagement.
I lied to y'all. Y'all did what I needed y'all to do. And thank y'all, and that's it.
Kaylee is the perfect example of a strange and problematic mother, and as if that's not terrible enough, she has gone to jail more than once while her kids were home. Who is Kaylee G? Why is she on the list of the internet's most degenerate moms? Keep watching as we unravel everything you need to know about this infamous mother. April Rogers, known online as Kaylee G or KG, is a mother from Memphis, Tennessee, and the controversy surrounding her name stemmed exactly from her status of motherhood. She has 3 kids, going to 4, and her oldest daughter Autumn is one major character in her story by the time Kaylee's TikTok page had real traction. She was in an on and off relationship with a man named Johnny, real name John Figi, and known on TikTok as Johnny Bladas. The issue with John is the most recent controversy surrounding Kaylee G. Johnny entered Kaylee's life and very quickly became the dominant subject of her content. He is a barber from Chattanooga, Tennessee, with 3 baby mothers and 5 children. When Kaylee started talking about him publicly, she was open about loving him. She took him on dates that she broadcast live, and she also blended their families together. She shared stories about their time together and how he would spend on her. But shortly after, allegations about John started surfacing from Kaylee herself. She went on live and began detailing that John had been exposed years before their relationship for being on the down low, which is a term used to describe closeted men who secretly sleep with other men while presenting as straight to the women in their lives.
John was exposed 4 years ago in his feed, which is Chattanooga, Tennessee. I ain't never been in Chattanooga, Tennessee a day in my life. I really never even knew Chattanooga exists until I met John. Swear to God. Don't fight me about it, but it's the truth. Defending him the whole time.
If you couldn't make out what she said in that clip, here's a brief explanation. Kaylee claimed that she did not know about his closeted self because she was from Memphis, and the situation had played out entirely in Chattanooga. She had only found evidence in the form of text messages and a photo. John had tried to convince her that he was straight, even at the expense of their relationship, but Kaylee didn't buy it.
He sent me a long text like, yeah, I wanted to work it out. I do love you. He started telling me I'm different than other females. I'm a certain caliber of a woman. But I just don't feel like it's going to work if you really believe that you believe these things about me. So he said he didn't want to do it. And I was fine with it.
Then while the drama was still unfolding, she came online to demonstrate how it happened.
Bro, I've never done anything, bro. Like, all I want to do is just be a family, bro. For real, that's it. That was him, y'all down there, anyways.
Mind you, as she laid out everything on camera in front of her live audience, she was also pregnant with his child. Kaylee also revealed records of John talking to children in his TikTok inboxes.
Just go back to your inbox real quick so they can see. Hold on. Scroll on down, this a kid, bro.
The drama escalated to a point of no return when Autumn, Kaylee Egg's 12-year-old daughter, got caught in the mix. Just when the gay allegations were marinating, Kaylee admitted on camera that John had slept on Autumn's bed. According to her, she woke up in the middle of the night, knocked out by medication she takes, that put her out for 12 to 15 hours, and found that Johnny was no longer in her bed. To prove this point, she called Autumn on live to have her confirm this in front of the audience. Kaylee spoke about the situation and tried to minimize the gravity of it by reiterating that John had slept on the covers and had not slipped underneath it to be close to her daughter.
What did he do? He slept where?
He slept on top of the cover.
He slept on top of the cover, but when I went to sleep, John was in who bed? Mine's, right?
Yeah.
In the middle of the night, you got out of my bed and you got in my daughter's bed because he knew I was on medication. I take medication, and the medication had you sleep. It knocks you out for a good 8 to 9 hours.
But this is barely the point. A grown adult man, romantically involved with a woman, getting out of that woman's bed in the middle of the night while she is medicated and unconscious, should now go to sleep in the bedroom of her young daughter. This entire situation is all the more disturbing when you find out that he's not related to her in any way. John is not Autumn's father, and therefore had no right to slip into her bed. He later explained that Kaylee had been sleeping too wild, and that was why he moved to the girl's bedroom. But again, this isn't justification for such a behavior. This is something a parent ought to call the police about, followed immediately by removing that man from the home home and never allowing him back. But Kaylee's updates kept revealing other disturbing angles in the situation. Amidst this weird topic, she revealed that she sniffed her daughter's panties, not because of John, but because of parental control. And this wasn't the first time she mentioned something like this. Kaylee has repeated it time and time again in her live streams. For her, this was her way of knowing whether her daughter was sleeping around.
After I disciplined her, that's what I'm gonna say. After I disciplined her, I did make her take her off, and I smelled her sure did. That's how I know if she doing something or not, if she ain't doing.
For some reason, this is normal parental behavior to her, and she often raises the question of whether or not other mothers do the same thing. Well, different parents practice different types of parenting structures, but something of this nature is indeed strange to process, especially when it's punctured into the internet by a mother. Not to mention that this was a time where she was having a tug-of-war session with her daughter and baby daddy. There was a lot of back and forth between Kaylee and John, and Kaylee and her own daughter. In one of her live streams, this black mom claimed that Autumn liked John, and she said it as if she was accusing her own daughter of the ongoing situation.
We just gonna put it all out there. She like him. She like him. She likes him. She likes him. She's been contacting him. She's been calling him.
What kind of mother would downplay such a predatory case involving her daughter and still blame the 12-year-old for it? Kaylee said that because she believes that her daughter still gave a green light despite her warnings and the different times they had talked about it.
And she gonna be held accountable. He a grown man, and he 1,001% wrong. But she know what she doing too. Because if your mama tell you not to contact somebody and you still keep doing it, after I done said and had a long conversation with you, you know what you're doing.
She might not have meant any harm and might have spoken from a place of pain, but nothing changes the fact that this kind of sensitive topic doesn't have a place on social media. It shouldn't be shared on a platform where Autumn's friends can see and her own family can still revisit years into the future. There are people in her comments who felt the same sentiments. This was a strange topic that Kaylee should have kept private, but she made the unwise decision of putting her family's affairs on the internet like this. And the sad part is that it didn't end there. Things went even lower when Kaylee revealed separate allegations regarding her daughter and John. One of them is that she had found Johnny and Autumn together in a dark room on another occasion, and she posted a screenshot of Johnny begging for forgiveness to prove it. It read, "I love you and these kids like you all my own. It was dark because Autumn turned out the kitchen light when I was asking you how many eggs you wanted, baby. I seen her jolt to the room, and when I got 10 there, she was in the dark. Please, babe, don't ever think I would ever do anything to hurt her." And in the second allegation, she posted messages that John had allegedly sent to Autumn's friend, who's also underage. It is assumed that John had either been communicating with Autumn through her friend's phone or had tried to keep tabs on her the same way. The messages revealed panels where John told the recipient of this number that he misses them and would ask if she was at home. There were also panels where he told Autumn's friend to ensure that Autumn calls him. Now, for context, Kaylee had been arrested during this time for reasons that we'll get into shortly, and the authorities had put the kids in proper custody in her absence. To anyone watching, what John was doing might have seemed like he genuinely cared and wanted.
This is Kayla, discovering that on Vinted, she can easily earn extra cash. All she has to do is list and
custody in her absence. To anyone watching, what John was doing might have seemed like he genuinely cared and wanted to be updated on the situation. However, it's fishy when you note some certain points. First of all, he wasn't paying attention to Kaylee, but Autumn. He was only interested in finding out Autumn's living condition, and not even about her own siblings. And he acted as if he was hiding from Kaylee herself, even though she was indisposed. Secondly, and most importantly, he wasn't her real father, and his relationship with Kaylee was already rocky. So why bother with Autumn? Not to mention some of the messages he sent to this child was very fishy, like this particular one where he told her not to tell anyone about their correspondence. How is she doing? And please don't go telling people about these messages. I'm just trying to check on my people. Due to this series of behaviors, many netizens believe that John was truly drawn to Autumn. It's sickening, but relatively true. This man was sending text messages to a girl who wasn't even legal in the eyes of the law at ungodly hours. The messages only came to light when detectives revealed them to Kaylee, who later shared them on her TikTok page for all to see. John tried to do damage control by claiming that the text messages and every other screenshot that Kaylee had been sharing were created by ChatGPT. But of course, TikTok users in his comments did not buy it. When it came to addressing the Autumn situation, he tried to downplay it as well, and to make it seem like Kaylee was over-exaggerating. However, his words really sounded off for someone trying to beat the PDF file allegations. John had said something along the lines of, "Everyone's in love with Autumn."
Why she keep bringing Autumn's name up? Because she knows that that's going to spark attention because everyone's in love with Autumn. You know what I'm saying? And I've seen it for myself, like when we go into public and stuff like that. I've seen like we was in Gatlinburg and stuff like that. Like people was like, "Where's Autumn? Where's Autumn?" Like they just like that's all they asked about.
It's weird that a grown adult would highlight how much of a presence a child has in public, and it's also disturbing that he chose to say that to prove a point that everyone was drawn to Autumn. It almost feels as if he was talking about himself indirectly. The comments were quick to pick this up, and the odds were not in his favor at all. John maintained that Kaylee had only made this allegation because it was the only way she could get a response from him, and she most likely succeeded in using the narrative to target him.
Keeps using that narrative because that's the only narrative that's going to get her a response. You see what I'm saying? She using the narrative is going to get her a response because people don't know who I am. People have never seen me. So if you've never seen me in your whole life, and now all of a sudden you hear somebody that you've been watching your whole life say something about somebody, you're going to believe it. That's just how it is.
But the truth is that John had gotten into a child's bed when the mother was passed out from the heavy medication. He could have chosen to sleep on the couch or the floor like a gentleman, but instead of doing that, he went to a little girl's room. And not only that, but he also constantly chatted with a minor at odd hours and for no just reasons. These are not good reports. And now that he was trying to defend himself, he had to make it seem like there was some magnetic force around Autumn that people couldn't resist. And Kaylee was trying to stir drama based on that fact. But despite everything, Kaylee did nothing to protect her child and quickly turned it into an internet drama. She talked about all of it publicly and had no way to escape him since she carries his baby. But even this factor had led to another controversy when Kaylee showed some signs that she might not be ready to be a mother to this child. When she first found out about the pregnancy, she was over the roof. Kaylee talked about it constantly on live and went to doctor's appointments on camera. However, there was a shift in her mood along the way, maybe as a result of her problems with John. Kaylee experienced mild spotting and went to the hospital thinking she might be miscarrying. Mind you, this was also shared online and it revealed a haunting side of this TikTok mom. After her checkup, Kaylee asked the doctor whether the baby still had a heartbeat, and her facial expression was so confusing and triggering when the answer was positive. Her baby was safe, but Kaylee didn't seem delighted by the news.
About 6 weeks along.
So the heart still beating.
Yeah.
Even the doctor thought that she wanted to remove the baby based on how she reacted to the news, but Kaylee waved it off like she wasn't being serious. However, it's hard to believe her when, in another live stream, she had announced that she would starve herself and stress herself to the point of miscarriage if she found out she was having a baby girl. This behavior wasn't a one-time affair. It was an extended series of statements she made, across multiple live sessions, about what she would do if the baby turned out to be a girl. She said she did not want another daughter, that the thought of having a girl made her feel like she would be miserable through the entire pregnancy, and she added that she would cry the whole time. She said this while already being the mother of 2 daughters, Autumn and Winter, who were both old enough to eventually encounter those statements on the internet or hear about them from someone at school. How would a child feel after finding out that her mother said, publicly and repeatedly, that she would have preferred not to have another one like her? Once again, Kaylee was doing something that would leave permanent and emotional scars in her kids. Her reason for saying this is that her one and only son, DJ, doesn't stress her out like her daughters do. For her, he's practically the ideal child since he's caring and doesn't get in trouble like other kids.
DJ don't give me no problems. DJ don't get in trouble at school. We don't get suspended. When I'm sick, DJ the only one come in my room, check on me, make sure I'm straight. Whole time I'm in jail, my sister was like, DJ the only one cried, said Autumn slept peacefully.
This is one of the many cases where Kaylee revealed her insensitive side as a mother. Even John wasn't exactly Father of the Year material, because he also has denied Kaylee's current pregnancy, as if he's not the father.
Like, is the baby gonna have your last name when she have the baby?
What baby?
Oh. Bro.
What you talking about?
This roller coaster of internet drama is basically a glimpse of what Kaylee G's TikTok history is all about. When she first started building her audience, Kaylee adopted a simple concept. She and her oldest daughter, Autumn, would do impression skits together where Autumn would pretend to be her.
Do you got $1,000? No. Do she got $1,000? No. Okay, that's what I thought. Get out my face.
But the thing about Autumn's impression of her mom was that it portrayed exactly who Kaylee G was at home, behind closed doors. She would sit on the couch with a fake blunt, take the exact posture and tone of her mother, and reenact conversations and situations pulled directly from daily life in that household. In one skit, she was on the phone pretending to be her mom talking to a friend while in the store, casually describing a shoplifting attempt at a store.
Yeah, girl, I'm in the store. You know how you don't scan some shit. I'm not scanning some shit. Heard I Mama, you forgot to scan this. She don't go doing.
Say the future is paving gold, and I think it's gonna be built on rock and roll. Got that chemistry, call it alchemy. Works like magic.
Mama, you forgot to scan this. She don't go doing.
A child pretending to steal from a store is only funny up until you realize she was there when it happened. Also, a child pretending to smoke is only a cute impression until you realize she grew up watching it done in her house. Not to mention that Autumn at the age of 12 was already cursing with ease and fluency. All these factors put together sends the message that Kaylee G was far from a decent, ideal mother on the internet. But still, her content didn't really look problematic for the average TikTok scroller. This is because Kaylee balanced off her content. Most of the controversial posts that had solidified her status as one of the internet's most problematic mothers today were recorded from her live streams and her TikTok account. Currently, she runs another one after losing the old page mid-2025. Other than family content, Kaylee has a knack for making hair, braids, boho knots, and wig installs. She's quite good at it and often shares this talent on her channel, even though she still finds ways to surround the content around her kids. In addition, before her TikTok career took off, Kaylee had worked as a dancer, or as she called herself, a midnight ballerina. This job had paved the way to several performances in different cities, including Miami. Also, Kaylee had a history with the law as she once got into jail, and she was open about this detail on social media. You see, Kaylee stopped offering hair services to people outside her immediate household at some point, because according to her explanation, she had talked so much online about so many people that she no longer trusted strangers coming to her home. She even added that despite the image she projected online, she was not actually trying to end up back in a jail cell. This type of online reputation tells you a lot about the woman. She's rough around the edges, and she still tries to provide for her family, even though her methods are not exactly praiseworthy. For most of her internet history, Kaylee has been open about her childhood background. She did not grow up with love and affection in any reliable form. Her relationship with her own mother ended in the most damaging way possible, and this was because of her father, who came from a mixed heritage.
And people got to understand life changes people. No, I did not used to be this gangster, tough girl. I used to...
Kaylee claimed that she began to act like a white girl growing up, partly because of her father, and this created a rift between her and her mom and siblings who were blacks.
So when I was younger, I used to act like a white girl, and I think that's why my mama and like my siblings and them, they distance themselves from me because they say I'm trying to be somebody that I'm not, and I'm not.
She explained that her mom would smack her, and this for her was more of a playful gesture than it was discipline. Then everything changed with her mother's next move. According to Kaylee, the woman who gave birth to her looked her in the face and told her she did not want her, and then she signed away her parental rights while Kaylee was watching. She described this backstory on a live stream.
Man, she said in my face and she told me she didn't want me no more, and she signed away her rights. I swear to God, y'all. She said in my face and told me she didn't want me, and she told me she didn't love me.
From then on, Kaylee went into foster care, where she grew up without structure and care that kids her age needed. Before her life had taken such a drastic turn, she had been a completely different person. She was gentle, open, and proper.
I went to foster care, where basically I didn't have a mom, dad, no guidance or nothing, so I grew up in the streets. The streets raised me. People start to change. I'm not going to act like the same person I was. You know what I'm saying? When I lived in the household with them, I'm a different person.
But when she got into foster care, things changed. Kaylee became rigid. In her words, the streets raised her, and that the person she became was a direct product of the circumstances her mother created.
This is what I am now because of, you know what I'm saying, the circumstances that my mother put me under. You allowed us to go to foster care. You allowed me to take this route. You allowed me to be like this.
Kaylee's mother didn't just throw her into the system. She also did the same thing to her siblings. Some relatives were merciful enough to take in some of the siblings, like her older sister. However, they wanted nothing to do with Kaylee herself, and the whole situation somewhat created the foundation of a future rift between Kaylee and her sister. Kaylee's background really did a number on her, and it's the reason why she doesn't know how to show love to her kids the proper way. In one of her most heartbreaking moments ever shared on TikTok, she revealed that Autumn would write notes about how much she loved her.
Autumn always write me like little notes, and like the last note Autumn wrote to me, she said, I know you be going through a lot, but I just want to tell you that I love you.
The words hit Kaylee like it would any mother, but since she's unfamiliar with this kind of situation, Kaylee doesn't always know how to react and would end up throwing the notes away. And from the way she describes it, she feels hurt about what kind of mother she was proving to be.
And y'all, I ain't gonna lie to y'all, I wonder how Autumn be feeling, because when I read the note, I don't go to her and be like, thank you, hug, or I be like, Autumn, I got your note. I just bottle it up and throw it in the garbage, but it do be meaning something to me. I cry, like I close my door.
Many are of the opinion that she needs therapy in order to heal from the emotional inadequacies she experienced as a child. No one should subject a child to the same emotional and psychological trauma they faced when they were young, but there are some circumstances that might be beyond one's control. In Kaylee's case, she might have not realized the baggage she was carrying before having 3 kids, and understanding that they needed the love, care, and attention she never got to experience herself. Kaylee is openly proud of her daughter, Autumn. It's so serious to the point that she gushed over the fact that her daughter knew the word altercation education.
So yeah, today me and DJ, not my mama, go to y'all study time, have my mama and our auntie got into altercation. So we gonna call
You
out.
know that word?
Yeah.
Okay.
Guys, take a look at this. This is Wearspace, and this is like an entrepreneur's dream. They have fractional warehouse space with all the utilities included, HVAC included, heating, air, and internet included. You can get individual offices for like $200 a month, but then they have fractional warehouse spaces starting at like 300 square feet as a small, all the way up to XLs that are 3,000 square feet. There's loading docks, both with stairs and a bay. You can get a dedicated
Okay.
But her parenting choices make it difficult for internet users to support her, and not just her parenting skills, but also her personal relationships. Just like we say in the Johnny Bladed saga, Kaylee's content took a dive when it shifted from lighthearted family skits to controversial daily drama broadcasts. One of her early mistakes in internet history that is usually referenced is a stunt she pulled concerning her children's education in June 2025. Kaylee went on TikTok and told the internet that Autumn and DJ had both failed their grades and were going to be held back in school. She claimed that Autumn had been caught in between an academic crossroads where they were unsure whether she should be in 3rd or 4th grade.
Nah, the kids ain't at school because they had a mix up on whether Autumn was gonna be back in 3rd grade or the 4th grade. So they was like they had to send some paperwork over from the behavior specialist, and then they said Lakeside.
This setting already sounds odd because Autumn is 12 years old and isn't meant to be in 3rd or 4th grade at all. In the US, the age limit for 3rd grade students is between 8 to 9 years old, and 9 to 10 years old for 4th graders. At 12 years of age, Autumn is meant to be in high school, and Kaylee was well aware of this.
Autumn is 12 years old. No, Autumn is supposed to be in high school.
Then on the other hand, her son DJ had been failing school due to their constant moving from one place to another.
Nah, Autumn failed because of a state standardized test. DJ failed because he wasn't getting it. I moved from Memphis to Miami when I had first started dancing. He failed the 2nd grade years ago when he was little.
This poor situation surrounding the two kids is appalling to anyone listening, yet Kaylee felt it was okay to share it with the internet and further expose her family's strange living conditions. Kaylee had moved her kids from Memphis to Florida a few months before the end of the school year, and instead of viewing the lack of stability as a potential reason for her children failing school, Kaylee decided to push the blame to the Memphis schooling system.
He failed the 2nd grade because I moved from Memphis to Florida like 2-3 months before the end of the school year, and their curriculum in Florida is different than the curriculum in Memphis, and he wasn't able to grasp or catch on with the curriculum as the kids in Broward County did because it was hard.
She claimed that the tests that her kids had taken, especially the one for 4th graders, was not easy because her child had not gathered enough points for it.
Autumn failed the 4th grade because Memphis has this they have this stupid for 4th graders. They got some type of test, and you got to get a certain amount of points on the test.
On that note, Kaylee maintained that she was not at fault for her children's failure. It was the school's system because it wasn't as rigorous as the ones she was familiar with in Miami.
In Miami, now they making your actually learn and work for real. And he wasn't used to that. It ain't got to do with my parenting. Nothing at all.
However, internet users in the comments didn't agree. Some claim that you can always retake the test if you failed it the first time, and even people who work in the educational system attest to this, adding that it's a standardized state test that 3rd graders need to take. I work in the school district in Memphis, and the test you're referring to is for 3rd graders, LOL. So that's not why she failed the 4th grade. It's also a standardized state test, not a Memphis thing. For those who aren't familiar with how the American school system works, a standardized state test is basically a big exam that every student in a particular grade has to take across the whole state, not just their school. It's designed to measure whether a student has actually learned what they were supposed to learn that year, and failing it has real consequences, like being held back in your grade. The specific test that Autumn was reportedly dealing with is called the TCAP, which stands for Tennessee Comprehensive Assessment Program. It's Tennessee's version of that test, and 3rd and 4th graders in the state have to pass to advance. It is not optional, and most importantly, it's not something a parent can just shrug off and blame on the school system when their child doesn't pass it. There are also retake opportunities before before a student is officially held back, which made Kaylee's excuse-making even less convincing to the people in her comments. Some, like this parent, pointed out that she's still at fault as a mother for not being more attentive to her children's needs. Yes, the students have to pass the TCAP test in 4th grade. If the student fails, they retake, fail again, then go to summer school. Parents have to make sure the kids stay on their work and learning. Definitely mom fault. Other TikTokers were on the same page, and they explained in detail that Kaylee should have sat her children down to study in order to avoid this issue.
I don't think that state test was the reason, and I don't think that we should be blaming it on that state test because the work started at home. You supposed to, start them off, be on their butt to the point to where they gon' learn. They not in school playing because you on when they get home. You reading books with them.
Kaylee didn't take these reprimands well and soon went on a live-streamed event. In this particular clip, she was fuming and saying that her audience should push the blame on the kid's father instead of her.
And y'all gonna stop trying to penalize me for I'm one person trying to take care of 3 kids. Go get on they daddy and get on they like why y'all over there just letting this girl do everything by herself.
She essentially complained that the burden of handling the kids and household was already too much for her to be bothered with schoolwork.
I can't be 50 places at one time. If I sit in the house all day with my kids, how am I gonna make money to pay the rent, pay the light bill, keep clothes, shoes on their back, food in the refrigerator, yard cut, maintenance on the car? How?
It was just a circle of netizens blaming her for not being attentive, and her kids for being slow. They also highlighted reasons why Autumn and DJ were not focused on school in the first place, which was due to their obsession with making TikToks. The posts and screen records from live streams spread across platforms, and Kaylee watched as the internet continued to tell her off for not being familiar with her children's academic needs.
You can turn your newsletter into an actual business. You just need to stop using 5 platforms to do what one was literally built for.
To tell her off for not being familiar with her children's academic needs.
She don't be making them go to school every day. Like, if they wake up in the morning and they feel like they don't want to go to school, she be like, okay, well, you ain't got to go to school then. What are you talking about? They're children. They got to go to school. What are you talking about?
This TikToker also suggested that Kaylee gets a tutor for her kids if she's too busy to handle it.
Take your money that you say you got and hire your children some tutors so that they can get out of elementary school and middle school. Give them the proper tools they need to succeed.
A move like this would be the bare minimum for her to do, especially if Kaylee truly cared for their academic success. However, none of this advice would mean anything at the end of the day because the drama took an unexpected turn when Kaylee herself returned with a shocking update. After letting the blame train run for a while, she came back on a live stream to reveal that she had fabricated the entire story.
Okay, so like I said, I lied to y'all. Y'all did what I needed y'all to do. And thank y'all, and that's it.
And it didn't end with her flashing her children's report cards. Kaylee also told the internet to apologize to her children for how they reacted to the report that she engineered entirely on purpose.
Now y'all need to apologize to Autumn and DJ. I'll show y'all DJ report card too. But y'all need to apologize to Autumn and DJ for calling them slow. I thought y'all Autumn. Why y'all switch up on Autumn because she failed?
In the blink of an eye, she repositioned herself as the reasonable party and called for accountability from the audience she had deliberately provoked. What kind of a mother would do that? Well, the answer is a mother who would use her kids to gain views on social media. The problem with this entire situation is that Autumn had already told Kaylee directly that things she posted online were reaching her at school. The little girl had told her that classmates were using Kaylee's content as material for bullying, approaching Autumn in the hallway, making comments about things they had seen on her mother's page. And Kaylee's response to learning that information was to create more content, specifically about her daughter's academic failure.
She tried to become a little woman and she act just like me. She don't even like being on the internet no more. That's why y'all don't really be seeing me post so that much. When y'all started talking about her, and it ain't because of me, because the saying on the internet, I'm just trolling. I said my kids were family, she was alive. So they don't bother. It do bother her that I lied on them. It do.
She never acknowledged her fault in the situation. She only claimed that Autumn hated getting on the internet because people had been mean to her about her failing school, and it bothered her so much. But instead of protecting her integrity, Kaylee worsened the situation by posting about her own child's worries and calling Autumn problematic for it. Kaylee had done too much that even another controversial TikTok mom named Akane had to speak up. Erica Kane, known online as Akane or EK, is a Detroit-born TikTok personality who built her following through raw
It's mine.
And it's mine. And that's what love is. And that's why y'all don't like it.
But
a few months after that video was made, Shady found out and exposed her husband's down-low gay affair to the internet, and in retaliation, he infected her with an incurable disease.
all these health issues I go through, and you try to bring me an STD? Fuck my mother.
face. But y'all can't tell me to stop shit. Y'all can't tell me to delete shit. Y'all can't tell me to get off. Y'all let this man get on here and disrespect the out of me.
She stood by him through seizures, through humiliation, until she caught him cheating with a man. But instead of leaving, he mocked her on TikTok. And when she confronted him about his evil plans to destroy her life, this is what he said.
With what my business got to do with the internet? You been opt out. You been you been evil. And you trying to make me seem like I'm this evil person because I don't want to deal with you no more because you're the devil and I'm waking up looking at a mummy every day. Nah.
K-12 makes going back to school easy. We deliver an education that takes your child beyond the classroom. With interactive curriculum, innovative technology, and personalized learning tailored to your child's needs. Forget the stress of shopping. We send you everything you need to start the school year off right.
I don't want to deal with you no more because you're the devil and I'm waking up looking at a mummy every day. Nah, baby, I don't want to look at you no more.
Then she got the test results, and then the gloves came off. This is what happened after the horrible TikTok husband that infected his wife after she found out about his gay affair.
Worm! You're an earthworm! Bitch, I hope you die, ho! Have a seizure and die, bitch! Have a seizure and die, bitch! Have a seizure and die, bitch! Fuck you.
She wasn't supposed to survive, let alone go viral, let alone fall in love on camera. Shay D was born with a long list of battles stitched into her body from the start. She had vision loss, multiple seizures, autoimmune health issues, the kind of chronic struggle most people couldn't begin to imagine living with. By the time she was an adult, she had been in chronic pain for most of her life. At some point, doctors told her she'd be completely blind, but she proved them all wrong. On TikTok, she became more than just a survivor. She became a presence, an inspiration, a raw, unfiltered, often loud voice for a generation of disabled creators. Her fans didn't follow her for polish or perfection like most influencers offer. Shay's fans followed because she was real. She showed it exactly as it was. She showed the fight, the tears, the joy, her rap career, the hospital visits, all of it. But even that confidence, that armor, hid something else. Because underneath all of that bluster, Shays was still just a girl who just wanted someone to choose her. But she was scared. She didn't want someone to choose her for clout or content. She wanted that someone was Hakeem. When he first appeared in her videos, fans weren't sure. Was this just another TikTok duo for attention and clout, or was it something real? But as more clips came out, their dynamic won people over. They were laid back, funny, and really seemed like they had each other's back. People began to believe it. They went viral together. A rare couple who joked, danced, argued, and forgave each other, all on screen. People loved it.
It's nothing y'all can tell me. It's nothing y'all can tell me, baby.
Nothing.
The same shit y'all seen on the internet, I seen it.
In person.
I seen it.
In person.
So it's nothing y'all can tell me.
In person.
It's mine.
That wasn't just a line. That was her staking her ownership and emotional territory. She was telling the world, despite everything she'd gone through, despite the hate she's gotten, the judgment she has to face every day, the ableism, she had found her someone. For once, she wasn't fighting alone. But what people didn't see was how deep that trust ran, or how rare it was. Because for Shay, their love wasn't casual. She was all in from the jump. This was someone who had seizures on camera, who was vulnerable by default, who couldn't always hide her pain, and still opened her life to the world. So when she brought Hakeem into that space, it meant everything to her that people accepted them.
To the people that do like it, and who is supporting us, send us congratulations, who send us gifts and all that. Thank y'all so much.
Thank y'all, we love y'all.
We really, a lot of this stuff we wasn't even gonna share because of the negative people. Like, y'all just sick.
They weren't the perfect couple people were used to seeing on TikTok, and the comments were brutal. People mocked her appearance, his intentions for her, the authenticity of their relationship, but they didn't let it stop them. Together, they pushed back.
Everybody tap that screenshot of love. Thank y'all for the donuts. Thank you, Christy.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nikki. Send another one so I can give you mine.
Hakeem started showing up in her videos regularly, defending her, clowning around with her, reacting to her wildest takes. They played into each other's energies. He was calmer while she was her fiery self.
Y'all, one more time. Just tell y'all, let's slow people one more time. Because obviously y'all need help. Y'all need help to understand things around here, around these parks.
and people loved it. Their TikTok lives became comfort viewing for thousands, especially for fans who saw themselves in Shay's struggle. Fans who, like her, weren't polished or filtered, but human.
I'm albino. Of course I can't be in the sun, but I go in the anyway, because how else I'm supposed to get some vitamin D?
What made their bond seem so unshakable was that it looked like he saw her past all of it, past the vision problems, past the seizure risk, past the disability.
And I sat there through it with you. Now, don't get me wrong, y'all. I sat there through it with her. I was there for her. But it was just to the point where when I got tired, bro.
That line would come later as justification, but in the beginning, he didn't sound tired. He sounded like he chose her.
But to the to the people that I'm finna hit you.
Of course, even then, not everyone believed it. The comment sections were toxic. People accused him of clout chasing, of tolerating her just for the followers. Like this person who left this comment under one of their TikTok videos. He is the problem. Always wants some money or a galaxy knowing he's sassy as hell. I love her though, but not them together. Others accused her of being too aggressive, too emotional, too unstable, but both of them would often clap back, together. They weren't trying to be role models though. They weren't trying to be goals or anything like that. They were just trying to be seen as themselves, and for a while they were. But you see, there was already a power imbalance built in the relationship. Shay had never really been chosen like this. She'd been mocked growing up. Her vision loss made school brutal. Her seizures made people...
This is Donna. She just discovered that on Vinted, she can easily earn extra cash.
Her seizures made people treat her like a liability. Her own body turned on her more times than she could count. So for Shay, their relationship represented hope. For Hakeem, it was stability, or so it seemed. For their followers, it was proof that love, even with all the mess, trauma, and baggage, could still find you. But the thing about building love online is this: a lie, a betrayal, and a disease. And when Shay pulled the thread of that lie and found out a shocking secret, the internet watched it all explode.
Can't do nothing. Can't do nothing. You ain't good for nothing but hold that phone in your face all day.
When the lie began to unravel, it exploded, starting with some very unsettling rumor that made its way to Shay D. To paint a picture at this point, she and Hakeem were married and had flaunted their marriage certificate online, very proud of how far they had come. Personally for Shay, she had also been through multiple surgeries and was still having seizures. And in the midst of all that, she was hit with her husband's nasty secrets. She was heartbroken, and as they had done all through their relationship, she took it to the internet. Shay found out her husband had been having relations with men on the side whilst they were married.
Talk about how your asshole about to fall out. Bitch, you got into a wreck when you were young. You claimed your brother and your sister were laughing at you and all that. You couldn't even, you got the surgery, your mama sold your perks.
Suddenly, it all made sense to her. You see, before she took things to the internet, many things had gone down between them. Things that left Shay feeling like something terrible was coming. What their fans didn't know was that behind the scenes, their marriage had already begun to unravel. They lacked intimacy in their relationship, and anytime Shay had tried to initiate a moment between them, she was always rejected, leaving her heartbroken. For a disabled person who's already dealing with insecurities from her looks and living a very public life where she gets scrutinized day and night, to be rejected by the one person she thought would never do that, she was shattered.
This whole time, you could have just told me, you could have been like, look, we're gonna be friends. You know what I'm saying?
Hakeem had been cold and distant emotionally too, not just physically. She revealed she confronted him about his moods, but he would always dodge her questions and never seemed to provide a reasonable response. But that was just the tip of the iceberg, because Hakeem wasn't done shattering her yet. As they continued to live in silence weeks leading to Shay's discovery, Shay said she tried to reach for him a couple of times to show him she was still riding with him, but every time she reached for him, he pulled away. That's when the messages started coming in. She received private DMS videos, screenshots, and clips of Hakeem on a private live video talking to men, not in a friendly or casual tone, but in a very flirty tone, in the way he used to be with her. The man who had barely spoken to her for weeks was looking very energized in the video.
Your mama sold your purse, you was in pain, ass bleeding and hanging out. You ain't even had no medicine. Come on, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Because I never got on here and bashed you.
She took to TikTok to expose the lie, all of it. She peeled back the curtain and let the fans into all the mess they kept hidden. The gloves were off.
But everything y'all seen in 2020 from everybody was for the internet. Please leave me alone. Don't speak on it no more. After this, I ain't addressing no more. No, I'm not mad.
She was shocked that he would lead her on and pretend to like her when he secretly harbored the desire to be with men, or even just tell her that he simply didn't want her anymore, which had the fans asking, was this all a lie? Were the fans right? Did Hakeem get with her for clout and attention?
I feel like you ugly. I feel like you crippled. I feel like your disability too much for me. You could have told me all that. But no, you didn't. You didn't tell me all that.
And the worst part? Shay revealed she had been his biggest supporter, a man she fed, protected, stood beside during his lowest moments, was sneaking around behind her back, not just with another woman, with men. He let her believe she was his person while actively building a second life.
You know, I've been holding all this shit in. I kept making it seem like he was just such a good person. And I know the background he come from, you know what I'm saying? I know his family treat him like shit. Everybody around him treat him like shit. And I was trying to be the person who wasn't, cause I was trying to be the person who wasn't.
But even that wasn't the worst part. The worst part came after, when he mocked her, on TikTok, in front of everyone.
I just said what you did. What you did to me will hurt my feelings. And you want to get on here and talk about my seizures? Like nobody was gonna call me? Like nobody was gonna call me?
No one knows why Hakeem thought it would be a good idea to go online and mock Shay, but that's what happened. He imitated her seizures. He laughed while pretending to collapse, as a joke. This wasn't a stranger. He was doing this too. This was the man who once rubbed her back during real seizures. Now he was reenacting them for laughs.
I still said I loved you the whole life. And then you got on this.
The Masters of Science in Finance program here at Babson is tailor-made to provide students to have the whole gamut of exposure.
And then you got on this and mimicked a seizure? Boy, it's crazy, dog.
Shay didn't break. She exploded.
And kind of just talk about, you know, life changes. For those that don't know, about 5-6 months ago, my husband and myself, we moved to Atlanta to expand our business. Challenging, and coming here with our kids, just us and our kids, you know. I made a post earlier where I said, take it literal. Are you just, you know, like we can't drop the kids off at our kinfolk's house. We can't go, you know. So right now my husband is, you know, at a retreat. I stayed back due to, because we have our children here. However, you all, I just want to talk about her because you have to be prepared for life changes, no matter what it is that's taking place. And I'm trying to encourage someone because things in your life can change for the good or the bad overnight, literally. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't feel like you're a strong enough individual, some things may take you out. You know what I'm saying? I've come in contact with so many people where they feel like they can't make it to the next day because certain circumstances happen. But you have to know the things that you're going through is for a reason. Now, you may not even be going through something for you yourself. It may be for somebody else and someone else's strength. You know, so I made a post earlier where I said you have to continue to encourage people because what you're going through could be their lifeline to survive. You know what I'm saying? And I know for me, sometimes when I get on social media, yeah, we all know it's like we get on there and we be like, social media, I just can't stand it. It get on my nerves. People is that, but I'm telling you, it's some strong sisters and brothers on social media that keep me going some days. Like, real talk. I have some very positive people that's on my timeline, and they help me through my gloomy days, because yes, I do have them. You know what I'm saying? Honestly, if I'm being totally, perfectly honest, I'm having one right now. And the reason I'm going live is because sometimes you got to reach out and tell people that you need love, you need support, you need care, you just need a hug. And honestly, you guys, I need that. I need that right now. I mentor so many women. I encourage so many women. I pump life and positivity in so many women. But sometimes I need that myself. And God knows right now, I need that, you all. Hey, everybody. What's up, Roy? What's up, y'all? I'm just saying, like, you got to get to the point where you got that love circle that's going to support you no matter what, that's going to be there for you no matter what, that's going to be able to help you and talk you through things that you feel like you just can't get through. Because if we leave things to ourselves, we start thinking to ourselves and we start making bad decisions. But you got to have somebody. I always say, if I'm not around people that can help me stretch, I'm not around the right type of people. You gotta have people that's around you that's not yes men, people that's gonna help you think, people that's gonna help guide you to positivity, to greatness, to things you really need to do and be in life. And that's what I want around me. It's a lot of people that I used to hang with, and I love them to love their souls, but they're not where I want to be. They're not. It's places I want to be in life. It's things I want to do. And I've just decided for myself that I'm going to figure out a way to get around those people. Because every day, Kiana want to keep growing. And you should too. You guys, I'm asking you one thing, because I really need it right now. I need prayer. I need prayer. I need strength. I need love. I do. Stay encouraged. I'm going to go in my home, go in my little prayer room. I'm going to talk to God. Y'all pray for me. And I promise I'm going to keep praying for everybody else that need encouragement. I love you all. Talk to you soon.
What most of her followers did not know at that moment was that just one day earlier, on October 19th, Ronell had filed for divorce and cited Kiana's affair as the reason. In a video he later deleted from YouTube, Ronell described an earlier moment where they had sat outside the salon in St. Louis and had a calm, practical conversation about splitting up, talking through how to divide the businesses fairly and make sure the kids were protected.
And as we sat in the truck and we said, hey, you know what, if we're going to get a divorce, let's be civil. You know, we got kids, we got businesses. We said, well, let's just sit down and just talk about how this all going to work out. Meaning from a business aspect. We didn't talk about why we should stay together. You know, we love each other. None of that conversation was being had. We was done with each other. And so all we talked about, we said, okay, well, listen. We done with each other. We both came to that conclusion, but let's not impact everybody's life that's around us because we just decided we don't want to be together no more. Let's not do that. So I said, let's have a conversation. And we took out a piece of paper, we drew a line down the middle of it, and we talked about how the business was going to go, how we was going to divide the business. And she go her way and I go my way, but we didn't want to compromise and jeopardize everybody else's future because we was tripping. Let's not destroy our businesses. Let's not tear each other's name down. Let's not do none of that because there's kids, there's family members, there's moms and everything that we plan on retiring one day. And just because we decided we don't like each other no more, we're going to forfeit all that. We're going to mess up that for everybody. No, we got to figure out a way how we can work together, be divorced, go our separate ways, know at some point we're going to get remarried.
This is what would crawl out of you if you drank 2 tablespoons of this disgusting African herb every day for 2 weeks. After your first
Let's go our separate ways. Know at some point we're going to get remarried to somebody else, but keep sustaining what we promised the people that's dependent on us.
He said by the end of that same night, they had both decided not to go through with it. But the October filing tells you that whatever they had tried to work out between them, it had not held. 3 days after the Facebook Live on October 23rd, Kiana posted about waking up from a nightmare and asking God for strength, and the tone of what she was sharing was getting darker with every post. Her followers were sending prayers and words of encouragement, but nobody understood how serious it was. On the morning of November 6th, Kiana posted a video of herself dancing with one of her children, smiling and looking completely like herself. That was the last thing she put on social media. That evening, around 9 o'clock, one of their daughters called 911 to report a domestic disturbance at the house, and neighbors had also heard shouting and gunshots. When officers got to the scene, they found both Kiana and Ronell dead from gunshot wounds. Sandy Springs Police Sergeant Salvatore Ortega confirmed publicly that no one else was inside the home when the shots were fired. The investigators concluded it was a murder unaliving connected to domestic violence, and their belief was that Kiana had fired first before turning the gun on herself. What the investigation did produce was a legal mess around their life insurance policies. Primerica, the insurance company that held their policies, filed a case in federal court in Missouri in March of 2022 because the exact order of who died first was not completely clear. And both Missouri and Georgia have what are called Slayer statutes, which are laws that stop anyone who caused a person's death from collecting money from that person's life insurance policy. 30% of the total benefits went without a fight to the couple's mothers. The remaining 70% was put into dispute and held by the court. By November of 2022, the case was effectively closed, but no public ruling was ever made on how that 70% was finally divided. The 8 children Kiana and Ronell left behind have never been mentioned in any public update. Their guardianship, where they are living, who is raising them, all of that has been kept completely private, and honestly, that is probably the most decent thing that has come out of this whole situation. Now, stay with me because I need to take you to a completely different city, a different couple, a different year, but I promise you it is going to feel like you have seen this before. Meet Winter Nicole Straw, a 25-year-old mental health officer, a college athlete, a sorority woman, and one half of what her TikTok followers loved to call a couple goals relationship. On the evening of March 26, 2023, her boyfriend, Renardo S. Johnson, shot her to death outside their apartment in Northeast Columbia, South Carolina, then went back inside, locked the door, and eventually turned the gun on himself. Just days before that, they had been recording videos together on TikTok, laughing, doing couple challenges, making the kind of content that makes strangers in the comments wish they had what the couple had. Winter grew up in Columbia, South Carolina as the youngest in her family, and everybody who knew her called her Wenchie. She graduated from Columbia High School in 2015 and went on to Allen University, a historically black college right there in her hometown. She earned her degree and competed on both the women's basketball and volleyball teams. She was part of the team that won Allen University's first ever AII Conference Championship and the school's first women's basketball title in 2016. Winter was also a member of the Gamma Pi chapter of Delta Sigma Theta sorority, and even after she graduated in 2020 with a degree in social science, she kept coming back to campus to mentor younger students and support the teams. After school, she went to work at the South Carolina Department of Corrections at the Broad River Secure Facility as a mental health officer, a job that required her to be trained specifically in handling crisis situations and giving support to incarcerated people who are dealing with serious mental health problems. SCDC Director Brian Sterling described her as the epitome of a dedicated officer who brought genuine care to everything she did. Her mother, LaShawn Williams, called her a rising star, sweet, innocent, and always pushing to make her family proud. By every measure that matters, Winter was doing everything right. Renardo S. Johnson was 27 years old and originally from Pelion, South Carolina. Not much about his background is available publicly, but what we know is that he and Winter had been together for several years and that he was a consistent presence in their social media content. Then, in August of 2022, Winter was in a serious car accident, and Renardo stayed by her side throughout her entire recovery. That deepened his bond with her family, and it gave everyone around them more reason to believe that this was a man who truly had Winter's back. Everything about this relationship looked clean and solid. And that is exactly why Winter's story is so much harder to sit with than the Burns case. With Kiana and Ronell, there were signs: the money problems, the divorce court episode in Ronell's past, the Facebook Lives getting more desperate in the weeks before the shooting. With Winter, there was almost nothing visible at all.
Who was interested first? Who said I love you first? Who's more protective?
You're leaving money on the table. Not because your content isn't good, but because the tools you're using weren't built to help you earn.
Who said I love you first? Who's more protective? Who cleans more? Who eats the most? Who spends the most money? Who is most likely to start an argument? Who falls asleep first? Who is more annoying? Who loves the hardest?
All right, put the in the back.
On March 26, 2023, at around 6 o'clock in the evening, Richland County Sheriff's Department deputies were sent to the Carrington Place at Wildwood apartment homes in the 700 block of Mallet Hill Road in Northeast Columbia after getting reports of shots being fired. When they pulled up, they found Winter Nicole Straw on the ground outside the apartment building, dead from multiple gunshot wounds. She had been shot outside her own front door by Renardo, who had gone back into their apartment and locked himself in. What followed was a standoff that lasted close to 3 hours. Negotiators got on the phone with Johnson and tried to talk him out of the apartment peacefully. During the early response, there were reports that a child might be inside the unit, which made the whole situation feel even more urgent. Deputies kept a tight perimeter around the building while negotiators kept working. Sheriff Leon Lott was personally at the scene. Around 9 o'clock, Johnson went quiet and stopped answering the negotiators. A few minutes later, a single gunshot was heard from inside the apartment. The deputies immediately forced themselves into the apartment and found Johnson with a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the upper body. He was rushed to a hospital but succumbed to his wounds that same night. The Richland County coroner ruled Winter's death a homicide and Johnson's death self-inflicted, officially closing the case as a domestic murder unaliving.
LaShawn Williams is the mother of Winter Straw and described Straw's murder as a shock and a betrayal. She says she's now turning her energy to taking on domestic violence.
She was a good friend, good sister, great daughter, all around just a good person, a rising star.
LaShawn Williams spoke lovingly of her daughter, Winter Straw, describing her as determined and community-driven. She says the family welcomed the man, and there were never any signs of mistreatment.
We didn't see any signs, no signals. It wasn't like she was coming around us with black eyes or anything like that. So there was none of that.
Making the murder a shock.
It is definitely a betrayal. Because this man looked me in my eyes all the time. And whenever I would talk to him, I'd say, I'm giving you my child, a wholehearted, bubbly personality. And that's how I want to get her back. And he always assured me he would never do anything to hurt my child.
She says Winters has given the family a new purpose.
We want to make it clear, real clear. Domestic violence is not a joke. It's not something that we should take lightly. For those of you that are posting on Facebook and doing all that unnecessary stuff, I don't care what a person does to you. You don't have the right to take her life. You don't have the right to put your hands on nobody.
County officials have not confirmed the name of the suspect, but the sheriff's department did report he in the hospital overnight from what appeared to be a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Williams says that the family will be hosting a vigil this evening for Straw at the Carrington Place at Wildwood apartment homes at 6:30. Reporting in Richland County, Chris Joseph, WIS News 10.
What investigators confirmed was that this was a domestic violence incident between two people in a romantic relationship, and that Johnson was the one who fired first at Winter before taking his own life. Beyond that, no specific trigger or argument was ever officially disclosed to the public, which is one of the most painful parts of this whole story for Winter's family, because it means they never got a clean explanation for why. Winter's mother, LaShawn Williams, spoke out almost immediately after her daughter's death. She told people, "We didn't see any signs, no signals. It wasn't like she was coming around us with black eyes or anything like that." She said Johnson had looked her in the eyes more than once and promised he would never harm Winter, and that she had trusted him completely. That kind of betrayal, where you feel like the danger was hidden so deeply that even the people closest to Winter could not find it, is something that is very hard to recover from. Her family gathered outside the apartment building that same evening to hold a vigil and speak out against domestic violence. They wore purple, which was Winter's favorite color, and also the color people use to represent domestic violence awareness. Her colleagues at the South Carolina Department of Corrections organized fundraisers through the Correctional Peace Officers Foundation to support her family. Allen University and her sorority both issued public tributes, and Columbia High School sent their condolences as well.
She was just a beautiful spirit that, didn't deserve nothing.
According to deputies, Straw was shot and killed outside the Carrington Place at Wildwood apartment homes by a man deputies say she had a romantic relationship with. The man killed himself after barricading himself in an apartment for hours. A family and community of friends.
K-12 makes going back to school easy. We deliver an education that takes your child beyond the classroom.
After barricading himself in an apartment for hours. A family and community of friends devastated by her death. Straw's family says she went to Columbia High School and played basketball at Allen University before graduating. She was also a member of the Delta Sigma Theta sorority and was loved by friends and coaches.
She helped us win our first championship at Allen. On the women's side, first championship they ever won. And she was part of that team, and she was a big part of that team.
She ain't like nobody calling her the baby because she had it, she held it. So,
Straw worked at the Department of Corrections as a mental health officer. And her mother said she was planning to go to law school.
This is a shame that these girls and these babies and these kids, these mothers, we have to grieve because somebody decided they wanted to take God into their hands. It's just too much. It's too much. We got to come together and figure out how do we put an end to this.
Looking back at Winter's social media after her death, researchers found some posts about peace and endings on her Facebook that, in hindsight, may have hinted at something being wrong, though nobody who saw them at the time read them that way. And that is the part that makes domestic violence so hard to fight, because so much of it happens in a place where no one outside the relationship can see it. Now, I want you to sit with both of these stories at the same time, because the similarities are not a coincidence and they are not random. They point to something that is happening in relationships all around us, and the fact that both of these women were on camera smiling with the men who would eventually kill them is not ironic. That is the whole point of what we are talking about today. The differences between the two cases are also real. In the Burns situation, there was a trail you could follow. In Winter's case, there was almost nothing visible from the outside. Advocates and community members have also pointed out that Winter's case got far less national attention than similar cases involving white victims, which is part of a larger conversation about whose pain gets treated as a national story and whose gets a local vigil, and then a lot of silence. Research on cases where a romantic partner kills someone and then takes their own life shows that certain things come up again and again. Past violence in the relationship that was never reported to anyone, access to a gun, a relationship that was coming apart or where one person felt like they were losing control, and mental health struggles in the person who pulled the trigger. In both of these cases, some version of those factors was present. In neither case did the people around the victims recognize the danger in time to stop what was coming. What Kiana Burns was really saying in that final Facebook Live, even if she was not saying it directly, was that she was alone and she needed real help from people who were physically present in her life. She said it herself. She was preaching like she always did, but she was also telling her own story to anyone who was paying close enough attention. In 2024, Winter's mother, LaShawn Williams, dedicated a purple bench in her honor during Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Allen University's women's volleyball team has continued to honor her name. Her mother, LaShawn, has kept speaking, sharing, and pushing the conversation forward even in her grief. What do you think about these murder cases? Let me know in the comments section. Also, click on one of the cards on your screen to see more videos like this. See you in the next one.
Down, scream, no baloney, no baloney. Hey, let me beat it.
That 29-year-old Teralyn Bowers was allegedly shot and killed by her ex-girlfriend. I spoke to her sister today, who tells me that she really wishes that her sister would have stayed away from this ex-girlfriend. Now the family says that they want justice for their loved one who was taken too soon.
I can't see my sister no more, so it's too hard to suffer.
She walked back into that apartment at 3:45 p.m. on August 31st, 2025. Her ex-girlfriend had called and asked her to come back. They'd been arguing all day, but now Marche said they could finally talk it out, settle things, rest their case. Teralyn Bowers believed her. 5 seconds after she stepped through that door, she was shot in the head. And here's the part that makes this case so twisted. The woman who pulled the trigger is now sitting in a Hamilton County jail cell, or probably not. Let's keep that in mind. She's claiming she had no choice, that she was defending herself against a woman she invited back. How do you claim self-defense when you made the call? By the end of this story, you're going to know exactly what happened in those 5 seconds. But more importantly, you're going to understand why Teralyn went back, why she ignored every warning from her sister, and why Marche Luther thought she could get away with murder by calling it protection. This isn't just a story about a shooting. It's about the psychology of control, the pattern of abuse, and the one decision that cost a mother of 4 her life. But before we get to that final moment, you need to understand who these 2 women were, because nothing about that night makes sense unless you see the pattern that led there. Welcome to Mind Twist True Crime Stories. Kindly support us by subscribing to this channel and turn on the notification bell icon. I'd also love to know where you are watching from. Marche Luther called herself the baddest statty, a combination of stud and daddy. And if you think that was just social media nonsense or nickname, think again. Her Facebook was a public outcry of bitterness, posts about cheating exes, threats thinly disguised as jokes, and one that should have been a massive red flag. Cheating on me knowing Cincinnati don't solve murder cases is crazy to me. She posted that months before Teralyn died. Marche branded herself as a realtor, a rapper, a boss lady, but people who knew her whispered the truth. She worked at Subway. The hustle was a performance. The confidence was a mask. And underneath it all was someone who couldn't handle rejection. When relationships ended, Marche didn't just move on, she simmered. And when the last woman tested her patience, she swore the next one wouldn't walk away so easily. Tragically, that next woman was Teralyn Bowers, 29 years old. Mother of 4, she'd been reading since she was 3 years old, grew up singing in church choirs, and loved pink and white, the colors that would later fill the sky at her memorial. By August 2025, Teralyn was finally getting her life together. She'd enrolled in LPN classes to become a nurse. She was building confidence, stability, a future. Her best friend said she was on the up and up, And when she met Marsha at the beginning of 2025, she thought maybe, just maybe, she'd found someone who wouldn't play games with her heart.
She was the life of the party. Everybody loved her. She loved everybody.
She's just a lovable person, like literally. Like you can look at her as another big sister.
Dejanay Irvin says Terralyn Bowers was her best friend.
She just got back in school for LP and she was taking classes. She just got on track with her children.
Terralyn was supposed to be in her happy season. She had 4 kids depending on her, nursing school applications submitted, and a fresh start waiting. So why did she keep going back to the one person everyone told her to leave? The answer is going to make you question everything you think you know about abusive relationships. For the first 3 months, their relationship looked like love. Pictures at Jeff Ruby's steakhouse, birthday celebrations, late-night conversations. Marsha's family even approved, telling Terralyn they were happy she'd found someone solid. Terralyn herself said, "She don't play at all." She had no idea that was the most tragic thing she could have said. By March, the cracks started showing. Arguments escalated, screaming matches, verbal abuse, then physical. But like so many toxic relationships, they'd break up, cool off, and get back together. Over and over. A cycle that looked exhausting to outsiders, but felt normal to them. By August 30th, less than 24 hours before Terralyn would die, they were back together again. If any of this sounds familiar, if you've ever been in a relationship where the highs feel amazing, but the lows get darker every time, I need you to check the link in the description. I created a guide called Love Shouldn't Hurt, a survival guide to spotting red flags and escaping abuse before it turns deadly. It breaks down every psychological pattern Marsha was using, every warning sign Terralyn missed, every tactic abusers rely on to keep people trapped. This isn't about judgment. It's about recognition, because the difference between surviving and becoming a statistic is often just one moment of clarity. Links in the description. On August 30th, Marsha and Terralyn went to a party. It was supposed to be a fun, carefree girls' night, dancing, drinks, laughter. But their mood was off. They weren't really vibing. Everyone could feel it. Something was wrong. Marsha's face was hard. Her energy was dark. And by the time the sun came up, one of them would be dead.
Marsha, y'all. You drunk, Marsha? Cause you don't scare me.
When you see someone's mood shift like that, angry, heavy, off, do you ever think something bad is about to happen? Or do you brush it off as just a bad day? Tell me in the comments what you would have done. August 30th, around 9 p.m., a themed party in Cincinnati. Friends showed up in slumberwear, music playing, everyone trying to have a good time. Then Marsha showed up. The energy in the room died. They left the party around midnight, went to a friend's house, and stayed there until the early morning hours. Sometime between 3 and 4 a.m., they went back home to Marsha's place. And that's when it happened. An argument erupted. Witnesses say it was about a situation that happened out of town, something involving Marsha's other girlfriend. Terralyn's sister quoted a news video saying, "What led up to the argument is this girl and her girlfriend trying to hurt my nephews. That Alexis girl was not innocent at all." She was very jealous of my sister. When I say Marche painted a picture like she was this sweet person on her she and wanted the best for my sister when she came around, I just didn't believe none of it. I don't know. Something always seemed sketchy about a Bith who swears she is a realtor but works at Subway. The details about the cause of their argument are murky, but the intensity wasn't. It got loud. It got ugly. And finally, Terilyn did what her family had been begging her to do for months. She left. Walk away from the drama. This is where everything changes. Terilyn walked out. The argument was over. She could have gone anywhere. A friend's house, home to her beautiful kids, her sister's place, a hotel. She had options. But then her phone rang. Marche wanted her to come back. She said they could settle their differences, that they could rest, that everything would be okay. And Terilyn, tired, wanting peace, wanting to believe that this time would be different, turned around and went back. According to Terilyn's sister Adrienne, who spoke to witnesses, this is what happened next. Terilyn walked through the door, and instantly, within seconds, shots rang out. One bullet. To the head. No warning. No time for another argument. No chance to defend herself. No avenue for reconciliation. Cincinnati Fire Department rushed to the scene and tried to save her. But Terilyn Bowers was already gone. Marche Luther was arrested within hours. And when she appeared in court the next day, she did something that shocked everyone. She pleaded not guilty and claimed she was defending herself. If someone leaves your house during an argument, then you call and ask them to come back, and then you shoot them the second they walk in. Is that self-defense? Or is that something else entirely? I need your perspective in the comments because this is where the legal battle gets insane. Cincinnati Police Homicide Unit moved fast. Marche was booked into Hamilton County Jail just before 2 a.m. on September 1st. By Monday morning, she was in front of Judge Samantha Silverstein. Her attorney argued for a $100,000 bond at 10%. Said Marche had no criminal record, had lived in Cincinnati her whole life, wasn't a flight risk. Prosecutors asked for $500,000. They pointed out that Terilyn was unarmed. She only had mace, that the shooting happened seconds after she entered the home, that Marche had invited her back. Judge Silverstein made her decision. No bond. Marche Luther would stay behind bars.
Prosecutors say 25-year-old Marche Luther shot and killed her ex-girlfriend, 29-year-old Terilyn Bowers. And today in court, prosecutors argued for a high bond, saying the two women were in a verbal dispute that escalated to Bowers being shot and killed. They say the victim didn't have a firearm, only mace. There's no word on what led up to the argument. Luther pleaded not guilty to murder. Luther's attorney asked the judge to consider a bond of $100,000 at 10%. Her attorney says there's a lot more to this story and that Luther was defending herself.
I would just note again, she's got absolutely no history. She's lived in the area for her entire life. There's nothing to suggest that she is a flight risk. We would ask the court to consider a bond of $100,000 at 10%, and then obviously she can comply with any non-monetary conditions.
While Marche sat in jail, Terilyn's family was falling apart. Her sister Adrienne went online and didn't hold back. Told my sister to leave this ugly alone. She was always too trigger happy. This wasn't no accident. You don't accidentally shoot somebody in the head right as they're walking in. She exposed Marche's lies too. Something always seemed sketchy about someone who swears she's a realtor but works at Subway. She went ahead to post, "My sister wasn't surrounded by anybody who loved her when she was dying, and it makes me so mad. All I could do was stand outside while she laid on someone's floor for hours, dead. I just want to hold my baby so bad. I need her here with me. My heart is heavy and I'm filled with nothing but anger. Never thought in a million years my sister would be gone." The grief was raw. The anger was righteous. And the question everyone kept asking was the same one the prosecution would have to answer in court. How do you defend yourself against someone you asked to return? Marche's defense team is betting everything on Ohio's self-defense laws. In Ohio, you can use deadly force if you reasonably believe you're in imminent danger of death or great bodily harm.
TikTok, a place for dances, skits, and some of the most disturbing content ever uploaded to the internet. I made this iceberg myself, and it will only get darker as we go on.